and we're going to kind of dissect it as best as I can for each one of y'all's businesses. And since it's a small setting, and I'm actually going to throw this in our courses because this will be good for anybody to actually watch, and if you guys want to rewatch or whatever the case may be. We're going to talk about how to scale a business, and um, if as you guys have questions, honestly, since it's such a small group, like just kind of shoot out a question, honestly. If this was a big group, we'd probably save it to the end. But like if you have a hunch on something that KK relates to you more versus Cisco versus Otto, like just fire it away. Because each one of us is at a different state in our business and it can probably help. So what I want you guys to think about when it comes to scaling a business, there's a couple different sides to it, and there's four things that you have to that are levers to scale a business, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second. Um, when it comes to a business, you really got to look at, I would say, two key areas. One is the strategy, meaning what direction are you going in? And then what math problem are you solving? So there's every business has a different sales channel and different customer. So in Otto sense, since we know a little bit more about his business now, he really has, I think it was two sales channels, or was it three? It was really you got the residential direct customer, and then you got the private equity firms. You can
Right.
maybe say a large scale and small scale, so maybe that's three sales channels. But those are his sales channels, right? He's got two sales channels. So the math problem side of it is every business has a math problem that you solve, a formula to scale it. For example, myself, I've been in the solar industry for quite a while. I'd scale it to 8 figures. Our customer acquisition, if we're lights out, is 750 bucks. A staple, good, known customer acquisition cost is $1,000 in the solar industry. 1,250 you can get away from, but when you start flirting with 1,500 to 2,000 before backouts, that's when it gets a little scary. Um, so, for example, the simple math here is, let's say that we're finishing off at 1,000 customer acquisition costs, and the lifetime value, like yes, it's a $35,000-$40,000 deal, but what we're getting as margin is, let's say, $10,000 per deal. Like that's our margin before I pay for ads, before I pay commission, before I pay overhead. Let's say that's 10 grand. That means I have to spend $1,000 to revenue, basically I have a margin of $10,000. So I have a 1 to 10 ratio.
Mhm.
So if in the simple math, if I want to do $100,000, I need to spend 10,000. It's that simple. If I want to do 1 million, y'all do the math. It's 1 to 10. And then that's the simple side on the ad side. But then you have to look at the fulfillment side. So because I could increase my revenue, Otto could do this, right? Otto was just at 15 people, now he's at 3. So if all of a sudden he starts doing all this crazy business, but he doesn't have the support to do it, it could really hurt his business. So a key metric is I would look at everything on a quarterly basis, track everything on a daily basis, and look at it from a monthly. But you want to be able to zoom out and go, where do we want to be at growth wise this quarter? Where do we want to output on revenue? And what is our target and why? And work backwards on one, the customer acquisition to lifetime value and what that ratio is. That's number one. Then on the fulfillment side, so I'll give you an example on the solar side. Average solar sales rep, you have the good ones, you have the bad ones, you have the people that don't make it, you have the people in the middle, you have everything, just like any other industry. They average about, from what we've experienced, about 3.2 to 3.35 deals per rep, gross, before backouts. So if I want to do 100 deals in a month, I have to do that math and go, how many appointments do they need? So what is the set rate? How many leads do we have to buy? I have to go, how many are they realistically going to set average per rep? Okay, the average is 27 and a half. I'm like, okay, 27 and a half. What is our pitch percentage? You do that math. We're like, okay, they're going to pitch 14 people. What's the company closing percentage? 27.5%. Okay, cool. That means they're going to do this. So if I want to do 100 deals in a month with like gross revenue, that would be like 3.5 million in sales, top line. Then I have the sales reps to support that, including expecting people to quit, to get fired, to do great, to do all the different things. I have the amount of leads coming in to support that, to give them the appointment total, to trickle down to the pitch percentage and the closing percentage and the keep rate after that. So see how like, and I'm breaking this down in a fast way, just to give you guys more of a premise, and we're going to break this down so you can plug and play into your business. But there's the structured operational tactical side, which is like what I'm breaking down. And then there's the strategy side, like what markets are we in?
Yeah.
What customers are we going at? What areas of the country are we going after? What sales channels? B2B, B2C, commercial, residential, right? KK for you, who's your customer? Okay, like these people may sign up, but do they have the budget to pay you? Do you want
Right.
low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket? How are you selling them? How do you scale your time? One-on-ones aren't scalable unless they're paying you a ton. How do you scale it? So you see, like, as I'm saying this, you're probably thinking about different areas of your business and the numbers you know because you know it as good as anybody. And so those are kind of what I've seen the two tactical sides of this. Now, the coolest part I will tell you about and Otto, I think you probably know, and well, Otto and Cisco probably since you guys have been in business the most, is the biggest change to your business almost from what I've seen, almost never comes from spending more money. It's something on the strategy side. It's some creative thing that you can do. And that's what's cool. And you do that by utilizing these four things. Okay. So scaling a business comes from four areas. Number one, people. Okay. People is everything. Right. KK, this is huge for you eventually. Is what I learned is, when I first made six figures for the first time, I'm crushing it. There was a time like I built a team as like a regional sales manager before I was an entrepreneur. I lost the team. The company I was working for wasn't too good. And I had to build it from scratch. So I had to make up their volume. And I went in like crazy person survival mode and closed it like almost 70% for a year and a half. It was absolutely insane.
Wow.
Just insane. Like, and if y'all have gone through the courses, the 7-step sales process, that's what I created out of that. And I was a 30 to 40% closer. I was in complete fear, whole entire, it's miserable. But in that moment, I learned I need people, and people created scale. And when I started making real money, it included people because I can only do so much. Y'all can only do so much. And I'll give you these four, but I think we break it down in detail. There's the biggest difference when you're hiring or delegating people, contracting people, is generalized versus specialized knowledge. So I'll give you an example. One of my first hires when I started my first business, this is like back 4 or 5 years ago. I hired this girl that was an assistant I know for a while, but it was really kind of like her first real job. And she had good traits, but I would have her just do so many random things. And what I quickly started realizing about 6 months in is I'm having to teach her everything about things I don't even specialize in. Right. And I'm not gonna lie, I did pretty damn good. I learned how to do PR, I learned how to do these things, right?
Mhm.
But that's not my skill.
Yeah.
Like I understand it, I can do it pretty good, but that's not my thing. And so I have a person that's less capable than me doing a ton of generalized things that's also scattered brain and all over the place. And so much so, I'm dealing with someone, Fox News is emailing me at 7 a.m. to come on that day, and she's missing emails. I
Oh
mean,
boy.
insane. You know what I mean? And on her email. And if I didn't have access to it, and then I mean, just you just want to punch a hole in the wall, right? And and then it's like, hey, let's do this for social media. Hey, let's do this for PR. And then she's like, and it wasn't anything to do with her. She just did not specialize in any of those things. And so we needed at one point, this is when I kind of learned this lesson. We needed to build out a lot of our systems. And there's these guys that I know, the big media company now, but one of them in it, they're geniuses. He specializes in Excel. So oddly, when he was 17 years old, he was the number one Excel spreadsheet guy in the world. He beat the Chinese,
Wow.
which is insane. And he redid all of, have you, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Texas, but there's this place called Buc-ee's. It's like the biggest gas stations in the world. It's like a
Yeah.
big Texas
Love
thing.
Bucky's. I love Bucky's.
It's like a thing. It's scaling to other places. It's going to Florida and it's going to all these different. Buc-ee's is incredible. It's if you guys got to Google it. KK, where are you located?
So I right now I'm in Boston, but I live in New York City.
Okay, you don't know what the hell Buc-ee's is,
And
but you got to use.
I don't. Yeah, I grew up in Savannah, Georgia, but I haven't been back lived in the South in like, 15 years.
Yeah, your brain can't even process what Bucky's would be like. It's like
I
as
have no idea.
flexible as they come.
No
Um,
idea.
but anyway, so he did all the Excel systems and process and automations for Bucky's. So he came in and did it for us, and it was like you press this button and like just all these crazy things happen. All these, I mean, it wouldn't even been possible for me to do it. And what's cool is he's super smart, but I would say, hey, I want this. And I would say like third grade level. When we enter this, this is the formula for our commission. It needs to go here. If it's a back charge and we press this button, this is the back charge and it updates here. I need it to update here and it needed to go to here and here and here. So I broke it down in an operational manner, which Otto, you probably know very well working with project management, operations is everything. So I broke it down like this, but I don't know how to do all that shit. But I know how to break it down in a simple form because a lot of our business is operations. And he's like, but he's just like a wizard. He goes and does it. Now, this is what's cool is I contracted him out. I didn't even hire him directly, but now we have that system in place that's just like this. Why did this happen? I created a scalable process, not through me, through paying someone. I ain't paying much, $75 an hour. And did it so fast because he's a genius and we're just good friends that now we have more of a scalable process and I use someone else. In the
Yeah.
same, you were gonna say?
Or just, I was just saying, this is kind of what a big thing that I am struggling with right now is just, especially just starting out. There's so much for me to do, like systems
Yeah.
automation, sales outreach, a newsletter, content creation, which includes ideation, research, scripting, filming, editing, PR network. It's like crazy. And so I'm
Yep.
trying to figure out what's the most important thing to focus on, but at the same time, I just don't have enough hours in the day. Even if I were to index on just content creation,
Yep.
I need people to really figure this out. But my knowledge is also specialized, and so it's kind of hard threading that needle.
Sure.
And what should I be involved in versus what delegates?
Exactly. And so this segues into the perfect answer that will help all three of you guys. Is right now pull out a sheet of paper or the notes in your phone, and I want you guys to think through the last like week or two, and I want you guys to write down every task that you do that doesn't actively generate revenue or require a high level of specialized talent that you possess or critical thinking that no one else can do. So I want you to write out those things. It could be, like I said, writing a newsletter. It could be replying to emails. It could be booking appointments. It could be onboarding a new employee. It could be onboarding a client. It could be anything that's a remediable task that doesn't require a high level. Like basically, it's below you. And I hate to say it like that, but you're just really shouldn't be doing it, but you have to. And I want you guys to write out each one of those things. And next to it, I want you to put how many hours you spend a week on that task. Okay, so if y'all want to write that out, I can give you guys we can get like 60 seconds. Just let me know when y'all are done. No rush.
Hey Grant, I'm sorry, brother. Do you mind just repeating that question one more time?
Sure. So what I want you guys to do is write out on a sheet of paper everything that you've done within the last on a typical work week that doesn't actively drive revenue to the business, or it's a specialized skill that you possess that you like no one could do really.
Okay.
Like if you were an engineer and it's like you do this one thing, okay, you can't delegate that. But basically a task that you deep down know you probably shouldn't. So like in KK's example, he can't delegate someone to do the content. So he like has to do that. We can think of a more scalable way to do that, which I'll tell you. I briefly told you already. But when it comes to like outreach, DMs, setting appointments, newsletters, like client emails,
Copy that.
postings, things like that, like he doesn't really need to be doing.
Yeah.
So just think through anything, or guys, think of something that you hate. That's another thing. Be like, man, I hate doing this. Like, I don't want to do this at all. Write it too, and then write how many hours. And then once you guys get that, all those tasks and then the hours you spend, total that up and total how many hours you spend.
On a week, correct?
Yep. Okay. Cisco, you got yours?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Cool. How many, what are you sitting at? How many hours for the week?
Well, I got 3 objectives that I do with the business. Responding to DMs, that's 4 hours a week. Restocking products on our website, that's 3 hours a week. And posting on the Instagram social media page, I'm at least doing 3 hours a week.
Okay. Is there anything in the administrative side of the business?
What do you mean by that, sir?
Is there anything else within the business that you do that is an administrative task? That is
Ooh,
someone had a standard operating procedure and they just followed it? Could they do it?
I'm sorry, Grant, I lost you on that administrative word. What does that mean on administrative?
Administrative could mean anything an assistant would do, like scheduling meetings, replying to emails, not necessarily as sales, but like booking appointments, sending contracts, to customers, scheduling, just anything that's not high critical thinking, like high level. It's something that you could train someone in 3 days to 6 days and they would be able to do.
Okay, shipping orders out,
Okay.
packaging orders.
I mean, that's a huge one. Yeah. Like if it's something that a person that's not a genius, whatever, could do, like if you do those things, write that out and then total the hours on it.
Okay.
For y'all are good, just tell me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Cool. All right, KK, let's start with you. What are those kind of main tasks and then how many hours?
Yeah, so for me, it's my newsletter. It's about 4 hours because you have to do research and then writing, editing, scheduling meetings. It's about an hour. Billing and invoicing. It's about an hour. Tracking expenses and doing the whole. It's just yeah, 1 hour for sales outreach. I know there's a lot of like automation stuff and AI that
Is this per day or per week?
it's per week.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, sales outreach is about like 2 hours, and then content creation. So on this one, obviously, right now I'm involved in everything, but I would love if there was a way for someone else to handle like scripting, editing, and I do maybe filming and ideation research. Um, but it seems kind of disjointed, so that which is why I'm taking all of it on. But you did give me an idea, which is good. But I think on the ideation side and then the research side, that does take a lot of time for something like this. Talking about macroeconomics and the markets and investment strategy. So it's specialized, which if I delegate it, it might not be done as well as I would like.
Yeah,
But a
get to know.
podcast is a good way because then it's just me talking.
Right.
So yeah, concentration is most of my time, honestly.
Okay. So what was the total of the other stuff?
The total for the week is about 30 hours.
Okay, but what the stuff that you could delegate though, what was the total on that?
Oh, without concentration. It's about 6 hours a week.
Okay, so what you can do, all right, you total 6 hours is what I would recommend is one, you can either find someone that can write the newsletters for you, or I would use Chat GPT.
I was just about to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
Dude, the new, I just did the Chat GPT. I did the old one and it kind of just sounded like a Google search engine, honestly.
Yeah.
The new one is like it stunned me
It's
how
actually,
good it.
I mean, it's actually a great idea. That would save me a shit ton.
Uh,
It saves you
so
an
like,
email too.
yeah, I mean, like you could even say like, hey, and you like, there's even this new trend going around where you send them a screenshot of your Instagram and it's like, tell me what you think. And it breaks down the exact aesthetic and how it looks. And then it's like, now be mean. And it just flames you up and hits you. It's so creative.
It's funny.
That's hilarious.
No, I mean it's insane. Like it's basically you have a genius that knows everything. So you could say, I want to talk about these points, these points, these points, these points, and they do it. And you could say, make it sound nicer, make it shorter. Can you adjust the statistics on this? And it's like, put it up, and then you copy, paste it, boom, you're done.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a way you could do that. Anything on the communication, billing, I would recommend this. It's helped my business so much, and this for all you guys, is hire a virtual assistant and create a standard operating procedure for every one of the tasks that either you don't want to do or could delegate to someone else. And if they had a process, they could do it just as well, if not better. There's a lot of virtual assistant companies. I've used this one called We Clone You. Like
We clone you.
yeah, like WE and then it's clone CLONE and then space like you, like YOU.
Awesome.
And usually pay like $500 for like each person, and then you pay them. It's like $375 to $425 per hour,
Got it.
and they're awesome. So, and I'm happy to like help you guys because I've hired like 10 of them in my days. My brother, we've worked together before, and like we pretty much figured it out. And what I've experienced is that they're more dedicated. They're harder working. They leave their problems at home. You got to go through them to find the good one, but when you find the good one, it's like life changing. You basically don't have to think anymore. And training and all that stuff is a different conversation. But I would have them do not only the things that you do, but what happens is we found is like I was like, how do I want to do like, for example, I've worked with this girl that has like this staffing company for dental hygienists, and we got her a VA. And not only did she save 30 hours of her week, like literally, the VA just started a week and a half ago, week and a half or so. And she's like, now she's at the point where she's killing it. She's not only going to save 30 hours a week, but we put together a sales process, a sales cold outreach process via email and LinkedIn. And now we have her virtual assistant actually contacting a minimum of 40 to 50 businesses per day.
Wow.
And then sending her at the end of the day, the updates of outreaches per day and how many follow-ups and how many answers. And all she's doing is booking calls with dental offices for her.
That's awesome.
She not only delegated all the shit that she doesn't want to do and doesn't grow her business, but she's growing her business without having to do anything for $200 a week.
That's amazing.
Like that's how you think about leverage and output. And then when I look at content, KK, like when I first started making content, this was like 4 years ago, I just did it like really sporadically. The key is, especially when it comes to content and building a brand, I actually I posted this. I don't know if you guys saw it, and I've heard it a while ago, but it was cool to see it because I knew this figuratively in my head, but it was cool to see the data. But it was the Google's basically formula, and nobody's better at advertising than them. They have more data than anyone in the world. And they basically figured out that it takes 7 hours of viewable content, 11 impressions, and 4 different platforms or times for the customer to want to buy from you.
Wow.
So and I was telling this to someone earlier, is like she's dealing with a lot of like backlash and people talking bad on her content. I was like, that's good because they don't know who you are. And Alex Hormozy, I saw a video of him talking about this, like how did he get over posting or whatever and not feeling worried. He's like, when I saw, I don't know if y'all know who Ray Dalio is.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's for sure, KK, in your industry, but he built the biggest hedge fund in the world. He wrote the book Principles, which is one of the best business books ever. I love it. You guys would enjoy it. But he had a TikTok video and people were talking shit about him. The guy's worth like 30, 40 billion dollars.
It's like,
So if he's Alex Hormozy is like, if they're talking bad about him, then they should be flaming me up. And because you're teaching the audience to learn you. So what I started doing, KK, is I do like selfie style ones because the algorithm changed to where the podcast ones weren't just doing as good because it got too saturated. But even then, I go like I'm in New York. I was in DC Monday giving a speech. I What's nice is like I still got a podcast out Monday and the full video clips, and I went a week and a half ago on like a Wednesday to a podcast studio. I filmed 2 25-minute podcasts, did other short clips. They email it to me and my editor that I pay $500 a month. That's how much it costs. Because they're overseas.
what studio do you go to? Is it New York City, you said?
No, because I live in Austin.
Oh,
So
okay.
so like if you I'm in New York right now, but there's one and that man, I can't remember what it is, but I'm gonna look it up because I need to book that actually tonight. But if you just search New York podcast studios or wherever city you're in podcast studios, you pay 150, 200 bucks for an hour or an hour and a half, and you go in there with a plan. Like you do your research before and you go in and you just like just spit for 45 minutes. So for me, I have my podcast. The podcast there, I have them trained to they email my editor. My editor clips up my 2 podcasts that doesn't really require editing because I go straight for 20 minutes, no edits. And then the edits on the clips, he sends me 1 to 2 clips every single day.
Okay, that's great.
You see what I mean? So
Yeah,
2 hours of my time is still fulfilling content for me all of last week, all of this week when I'm in DC and New York, and the previous week before that. And 2 hours of my time equated to content that's going to be seen by over 1 million people.
got it.
And you see what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
and leverage is a game. It's like when you pull this lever, how big does the lever swing? And
Right.
so, and they said Beyonce has the same 24 hours of you. Like, yes, she does, but she has a driver, she has cook, she has a PR team, a marketing team. She has the entire music label. She invests and owns tons of different business, private equity, owns capital in businesses that may have thousands and thousands of employees that are all working and making money for her. That's what's called leverage.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, the reason why I'm starting with this simple exercise is like when you do this action, if I'm like, hey guys, we need to focus on outreach. Every sales rep needs to contact 200 people. And I got, let's say, 40 sales reps, 40 times 200. Think about this. I can say that statement and give a motivational speech for 10 minutes. And now 8,000 people will know about my business.
That's crazy.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
leverage. So that's how you guys have to think. Like Otto, you want to schedule that? Like that's how you have to think.
Yep.
Output. And because
On the research side, when you go into the podcast, like obviously, you have probably by now you have a good sense of what the market needs and what is going to hit. But when you're doing your research, is it more just reading, then you go on the podcast and you just spit your knowledge, or is it very, very targeted? Or like, I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to answer this question.
good question. I think every person's different. I can tell you this is like me, and I don't know this is for everybody. But when I started making content, the moral story is I don't know how to edit, and I have I don't want to edit. I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate doing like little tasks. It literally makes me like just freak out. I
Yeah.
hated school. I can't sit still. I'm not going to sit there and learn how to edit. I don't want to do it. So I basically said, okay, if that 60-second video is not perfect, I have to redo it until I'm perfect. And so early on, I would have to do this over and over again to get one thing out. And then I just got to the point where it's like instant. I go top of my head, boom, it's going to be perfect. And so the same thing for my podcast. I didn't know how to edit my podcast and I didn't have an editor for my first 15 episodes. So I had to be flawless for 25 minutes or I couldn't upload it. So I trained myself to be perfect and do it off the top of my head. And I just have literally like, this is my notes for my podcast. Look how basic it is. And I'm not saying this is the right way. It's just number 93. Let's see. Super short. Look, how to scale everything right here. And it's just like the 4 things. And then I have 1, 2, 3 points. And so I have it like right here and I just go off the top of my head. And if I need to reference where I'm at, I know the topic so well because I'm doing it every day that it's very easy.
That's
Like
great.
I didn't prep for this because I know this stuff like the back of my hand. This is like me talking about like I played football for 15 years, so it's so easy. But this is the thing is like KK, what may help you is like, for example, one thing I'm always studying the markets, I'm always studying business. I know what's happening on Twitter. I'm checking 30 minutes a day. I'm
Right.
reading and learning about my industry, about business, 30 to 60 minutes a day. So that's like, and I'm not doing it to prepare for this event or this talk or this podcast. I'm just always doing it. And then if I have an idea, I'm putting it in my notes.
Gotcha.
So I go into the studio and I'm like, I'm talking about this topic, and it's like, bam.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. So I mean, it's kind of like you're just absorbing everything throughout the day and it comes naturally because not like you're scripted. It's just,
Who I am. It's what I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
So I mean, like I had an idea of how I wanted to take this, and that's why I had all you three talk first because I had a hypothesis, but I didn't know what you guys were going to say. And once I feel that out, I'm like, okay, I'm shifting in this direction. This is going to be beneficial for you. And that only takes experience with anything. Okay. Um, so that's how I want you guys to start looking at stuff. We can talk about that in more detail and other things. I want to get through these others, but people's the key. So you hire a virtual assistant or you contract. Upwork is huge for you guys that want to do certain things. KK and other you guys, if you need help with a CRM, you need help building a website, you need help building ads, you need help putting together a CRM, you can find it on Upwork and pay them hourly, and it's amazing. Upwork is huge. So before you go hire employees, especially like Otto, you're building your business back, contracting out employees for your specialized needs of your business, plus a virtual assistant or two, may completely change your entire
Trust
business.
me, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, it's it'll help you a ton. And I think the virtual assistant, just based off of my gut, I think will probably help you the most, Otto, because as far as all those things between it, you can do SOPs for everything, train them up, and you'll get all your creativity back.
Yeah,
So
I've got a lot of that stuff already created, which is
yeah,
nice. But yeah, I mean, we had an on-staff accountant, which now we're not doing the volume of business that we were doing before. So I outsourced that to a accounting firm I've been paying attention to for a while. They
nice.
do tax planning, they do tax strategy, they do prepared taxes, accounting. It's like $800 a month, and it's like, to handle all your billing, your receiving, all that stuff versus pay a full-time employee.
Exactly. It's huge. And like that's how you can start it, right? So on the small side, you do all those different things. And that's how you scale with people without having to go hire a bunch of W-2 employees before you need them. So perfect. So that's key. Okay. Cisco, real quick, how many hours was it for you
In total, sir, we're looking at 24 hours.
that you spend on stuff that you basically shouldn't?
Yes.
Okay. So what are those tasks again? Go through them real super quick.
Calling our source supplier for our products coming in.
Okay.
Updating the website.
Hey, real quick, your source, does that require like sales skills or is it basically like don't tell them to F off and tell them what you need?
I'm sorry, you said Excel skills? Was that the first one you
No,
said?
sales skills. Like, does it
Oh, sales.
require, like, do you have to be,
No, no, because we help distribute switch panel plates from a different company. We buy and resell. So we want
Right.
to so we have a constant order. We got a whole business with them. So it's almost once, twice a week we're calling
just
and saying,
order
"Hey,
taking? Yeah, we're calling in orders.
yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that's a virtual assistant can do that. That's,
Copy.
yeah. Okay. So I would do, we clone you, I like, if y'all have another service, do it. You may need to interview 5, 6 people, but I would start, Otto is nice. He already has the bulk of those SOPs done. KK, you can start slowly building those SOPs. You can ChatGPT can help. But I would build out the SOPs for everything, make it as analytical and annoyingly detailed as possible. I mean, like, go here, do this, and this is too generic. Like, click on this link. When you do it, here's a screenshot. Click this.
Yeah.
And
Screenshots and pictures.
yes, like, think of like I hate to say this, but if you can't pull someone off the street and say, hey, I'll pay you $100 to do this if you follow those things and they can't do it, then your SOP sucks.
Got it.
Okay. It's to eliminate them asking you for things. And we'll talk how to manage that and onboard, but that's another conversation. I would hire a virtual assistant and just get you back that 25 hours.
Copy that.
What you guys are going to realize, this happened to me my first year. I talk about this when I hired a project coordinator and did all this stuff delegated. My business doubled. And it was because I got my creativity and energy back. If I'm the CEO and I'm great at what I'm doing, same for you guys, I don't need to be doing administrative tasks because that's killing my creativity and it's going to cause me to miss things and not focus on the things that really grow and scale my business. Same for you, right? So that's the key with people, okay? Number 2 is content, okay? And these are important for this. People, when you have people that are on jobs or they're contracted out on their salary, they are working despite what you are doing. If you have a process in place, which means if you guys are on this meeting and this is like earlier in the day, what's happening? The engine is still turning. If it's only you and you're on this meeting, the engine stops unless you jump off. So people allow you to keep the engine going. Content. As I'm sitting here, people are viewing the content. I can see my phone lighting up. People are commenting on it. Okay. So if you want to grow and scale your business, Otto, this is probably key for you. You may need to hire someone. Maybe your wife can specialize it in. Contract someone, get an intern, someone that's in college, pay them, 15 an hour, 10 an hour, do it 5 hours a day. I don't know, whatever. But you need before and after videos, pictures for every single job you do. Have a cheap editor do it. That's $500 a month. And all you do is you get that content every single day, you're getting it. And you're having someone do it. And every day you have a new piece of content coming out.
Yeah.
And the key is, and a good way to look at this, KK, this is good for you too. Well, actually, all 3 of you guys. Look at who is the biggest and baddest and number 1 top people. Your content and social media and marketing and branding, when they Google you, when they look at your page, needs to be as good or better. Ideally, probably better. It needs to be indistinguishable. And if you're smaller, rule that I have is when it comes to content, we think we're more important than we are, just naturally. So it's content is like we're all on a hill looking at a freeway and there's a million cars driving by. We don't want a car to blow up and die, but it would be cool if one of them won the lotto, but we forget about it because, I mean, who cares? It's just a random person. Random people win the lotto all the time. That's kind of how content is. What's going to make us go, oh, that's an interesting car. Oh, damn. Look at this. Look at this house. Damn. This is nice. Look at this company real quick. They don't need. So if your content isn't shareable and adding value to them, not because of you, but because of what you're providing or the service or the creativity, then it sucks.
Yeah.
And when you consistently do that, that's when it spirals. It's taken a long time to build out stuff on mine. I'm still in the early phases, I think, but it's doing those things. It's always remembering those principles. So when you have content, people are sharing it organically even while we're in this meeting. That's scalable.
Gotcha.
3 is code, right? This is like automation, Zapier, CRMs, automations, auto reminders on billing, on leads, for appointments, for outreach. AI automation is a new thing that a lot of people are doing. I have a friend that runs an AI automation business that can target and actually text leads for you at a massive scale. Code is something that's got, or a platform that people use that you don't have excess costs on. That is huge. And then paid ads.
Grant, that's the area I really need help in. I know there's a lot of AI outreach. There's a lot of stuff that you can, we have a lot of this stuff already in place. I've got CRM, I've got a lot of automated stuff. When we put in dates or, change categories, it automatically puts in dates. It builds a lot of data for us. I mean, we have a lot of stuff that's already automated that way and keep track of and reminds you, of stuff like that. But the outreach is what I need help with.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to do it. You can find a specialized someone to do something with AI, and I literally would go and I could do it right now for you. Watch, I'll show you. I'm gonna show you guys how sometimes easy this is. Let's see if I can get in here.
Excuse me, real quick.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. Okay, so look, all I did is search AI automations. Like, this is the first time I've ever done this on this one. Look, this guy, AI workflows, automation, analytics, 45 an hour. Low code developer, AI automation specialist, AI voice calling bots, inbound and outbound. Monday.com, click.
$100 an hour, damn.
Some of them charge a lot. Don't
I'm
work
in the
with.
wrong business.
No, look where he's located.
Oh yeah,
That's why.
that makes sense.
See, like this dude, 26.
Mm.
So just my point is like, you just this is a good way to do it. Look, this guy does it for $10 an hour. He's in Pakistan. And if he's got really good reviews, you just go and interview 3. So that's like, okay, I have a problem. Remember, let's go back to basics, right? I don't know Otto's business, but I know his problems. So if I know his problems, my first question is, who specializes in it? Okay, how do you find those people? My cousin, I convinced her to start a wedding planning business because she's so good at it. Now she's top 5 in Texas. And she was in Italy for a big wedding, $500,000 wedding, for a venue. She's like, Grant, what would you do to get a videographer? I need this and the other. And I was like, good question. I said, I wonder if they have Upwork in Italy. She's like, let me look. She found someone like $40 an hour. It looks stunning. Like it was incredible. So for 80 bucks, she does this unbelievable thing. So like I'm not a wedding planner, but you see, it's like first principles. It's like, what is the problem? Who knows how to solve it? Where to find them? And I know that sounds like very basic and simple, but it sometimes is. That's literally the answer. But we're just continuing to spin our wheels because we just have to keep the business running because, that's our job as a business owners.
Right.
Okay. So you find those things and then paid ads, right? Paid ads are running and reaching new customers regardless of what you're doing. Okay. So that's the common theme here. Leverage. Okay.
I'm sorry, Grant. Sorry to interrupt you, my brother. Is there another software like that who I can find someone who could run paid ads just for my business?
Like to find them?
Just like how we found autos to hire somebody for that.
Oh, you're saying like do you have like pay like are those types of people on Upwork?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, copy that. Copy
Yeah,
that.
look, I'll search it right now. Paid ad.
I would love to have a paid ad on Google. So anyone who searches up toggle switch extensions, boom, I'm right there in the front. And Facebook or Instagram, whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Google ads. I see. Yeah, look, I just searched paid ads. Look, I'll show you. And obviously you can look through this more.
I will.
RI, pay ads, blah, blah, blah. Top 3% Google Ads Manager. Facebook and marketing ads, paid social media audit. So I mean, look, like he's worked with 97 people, 4.7.
Copy. Thank you.
This dude, see what I mean?
Yes,
So,
sir.
but the thing is, you got to look at ROI, guys. Is the way that you're looking at it is
Okay.
like whatever you're spending on, you're like, is this going to operate without me? And if the answer is yes, you're creating what? Leverage.
Hmm.
Leverage scales businesses. If more people, I'm not a genius, but if 10 times more people see KK's content, he's probably going to make more money.
Yeah.
If 10 times more people see the work that Otto's business does, which this is what's cool about Otto's business. This is what I'm gonna tell you. I'm just telling you first off the instinct, Otto, your business is gonna freaking explode.
Yeah.
And it's not me being positive. Let me tell you why. This is like how simple this really is. If the bulk of his business is word of mouth and referral based business, and it's not much like outreach sales, it tells me two things. He's got a great effing business and he's doing a tremendous job, and he needs to improve his sales and outreach and systems.
100%.
It's that simple. So you're telling me all we have to do is create and implement an exact outbound sales process and scale with content, code, and paid ads. And they already love his business. The hard part is done. I mean, as long as you don't run ads and post content telling people to go like F themselves, like Otto's business is gonna grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's literally the reason why I'm here is
Yeah.
because we've grown to a point where referrals and just people telling other people about us is where we're at. We need to go further.
Exactly. And so like that's the best thing. And so what's cool, Otto, is like, and this is what I learned because I thought I had to know everything. You don't need to know, you don't really have to know nothing crazy. You just need to hire an expert who does.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you have to do. And I always tell people, there's sometimes I'll talk to entrepreneurs and I'm like, you're just too smart, man. You got to chill out. And like I was like, you need to be the hardest working lazy person there is because it's like you're overthinking everything, and I don't think neither of you three are, and even close. You're like not in this case, but you got to think leverage. I met someone yesterday, and this is why content, right? I was one of my good friends. She's out here, so she's like, "Hey, let's go grab drinks." And then she's like, "One of my best friends works at this real estate firm. Like, she's with her boss, like at the Four Seasons. Let's go grab drinks." I said, "Sure." And they told me about this guy who runs a real estate firm, super young, early 30s. They're killing it. And so I started talking to him, and he's telling me a story. And he's like, when I started out, they're like, hey, try to call people that he knows. And he goes through his 100 contacts. He's like, these people can't afford $1 million property. And he said, you know what I'm good at? He's like, people love me that are in restaurants, that work the doors at hotels and everything. So he went and found 50 to 100 people that are around wealthy people and hired all of them to become real estate. So they were like the bartender that's really good looking and charming that knows all the rich people. This guy was like 20 something
Brilliant.
at the time. He
Brilliant.
hires like 50 of these people. And they're like,
Yeah.
look, you can keep your day job, but also sell real estate, but also send the leads, and I'll just close them and give you referrals. His business exploded.
Brilliant.
Exploded. You see what I mean? So he's a hustler, but what did he do? He went and found leverage. He knows he can't have the same output as 50 people, and he didn't have the contacts. So what did he do? Who has the contacts? Where are they at? And why would they work with me? First principles. First principle thinking. I'll send you guys some videos on it.
Thank you.
Boil complex things down to the most fundamental truths in the simple form. Okay? You ask a genius person that knows manufacturing how to build a car, they tell you all this crazy shit no one knows. You ask a VP of sales from Mercedes-Benz, like, what is a car? What's its purpose? It is an object that carries a person or group of people from point A to point B. You're like, oh, okay, I know what a car is. Why do people buy cars? Who buys cars? Where do they live? You see what I mean? And each time you get a list of answers.
Yeah.
And it starts giving you the answers here. And what helps you guys do is, I'll finish on this. I know it's been an hour, so we'll close out here in a second, is getting y'all's minds out of shit that does not matter for your business. It does matter, but not from you.
Yep.
That's the key. Like I didn't realize how much creativity I had until I actually got to use my brain again. When I stopped using 35 hours on shit that I should not be working on.
Right.
I just felt like I was floating in midair. It was crazy. I was sitting here and it's just like deal, 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 deal. And I'm like, holy shit, I just made 30 grand today. And I did not talk to one person, one customer. I was like, this makes no sense. I literally felt like I was doing something illegal. It didn't make sense. And I was like, my sales reps are happy. This is happening. Nothing's on fire. It took me about a year and a half, 2 years to figure it out. But I was like, whoa. So my thing is, I don't want y'all to make those same mistakes. Or you're already doing great, but you can at least not be miserable while you succeed.
This is massively helpful because, like, as someone who's just the reason I did this, even though I'm a first time entrepreneur, it's like just better to go somebody who's already did it so I don't make the mistakes. I've been overwhelmed by the amount of tasks that I thought I would have to do. And this makes complete sense. And I feel like this breath of fresh air right now.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's what I want you guys to feel like. I don't want you to have to go through the shit. Dude, I'm good right now, man. I probably worked 100-hour weeks for. So it's like the last quote I'll leave you with is the things that it takes to become a CEO or business owner will not make you a great CEO. Great CEOs putter. They're slow. Like Jeff Bezos, he's slow mornings. He doesn't really get going until 10 a.m. Like I have a rule, I'm not a morning person. And I'm hardest working person. I'm such a hard working person, but like I just don't function well. So I won't take my first meeting unless it's super important before 11 a.m.
Yep.
I have to get 8 hours of sleep. So like I don't fight against who I am. So like when I was trying to learn how to read books consistently and not be all over the place because I was so ADD is instead of forcing myself to read for 3 hours, I was like, I'm gonna read as much pages as I want until I feel fidgety and I'm gonna stop. I'm like 3 pages, stop, check my phone. 8 pages, 30 pages, 1 page, 6 page. And then 3 hours pass and I've just been chilling, but I just read 120 more pages than anybody that I know. And you stack that up for a year, and now I have more knowledge than most humans on earth.
Hey, Grant.
Mhm.
It seems like you know yourself real well, my brother. Like I feel like that's something too as just an individual. You really got to know yourself. So how does one learn himself or to learn their habits or self growth, if that makes sense? Or
Um, I'm trying to give you a practical answer. Um, I think the best way I can say is that we oftentimes don't utilize our true intelligence because we're in autopilot so much. Like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Oh, yeah, we got this. Okay, I got this dinner, I got this and this and this and this. So it just kind of never ends. So what I tell you is you have to get off of autopilot.
all right.
And Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, he there's this book that's really good, so it's super small from John Maxwell. It's How to Think. It's like this big, it's like 100 pages. And he talks in there about Truett Cathy actually had a thinking schedule. So he organized a certain amount of time each day, each quarter, each week to only think. Like no one can talk to him, nothing. And so meditation is great also, reading. And then I would say also, like, I'll give you this. Do you think you're going to think more about your business and your life and who you are more after this hour-long meeting?
Yeah.
100%. Why do you think that is?
Because of the knowledge that I was just obtained by this conversation.
New information. It's that simple. So new information creates new thinking and it produces different results. So if you're not producing what you want, you have that's based off the information that you have. So the only way to change that variable is what? The variable X that we're solving is new information. Does that make sense? Which now stimulates your brain, and then you're not on autopilot, so you have a thinking schedule. You have some time that you like reflect, and you're like, oh. So like I tried to listen to school and it didn't work. I did it my own way, it worked. So like if I don't like doing things, I just don't do them.
Copy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Cool, guys. Good. Any last things?
I got one question. How'd you meet that Excel guy?
Y'all probably know who he is actually. So have y'all seen those guys? It's called the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go up to random entrepreneurs. They're like,
That's where I saw you first.
oh, really? Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. Some content. Crazy,
Yep.
right? Yeah, so School of Hard Knocks are great. They just interview all these entrepreneurs type people. And so James is the guy that's talking. He's great at that. And then Jack is his older brother. That's like the operations genius Excel guy. And then Nick is like content and strategy and different things like that. So he just happens, they're all three geniuses. But they talk as good as anyone here. But he just happened to be really good at. So they asked me to come, like just do some clips, and then he told me his story. I was like, "What? We need help on that." And it was like a year and a half into my company. So this was like back in like 2021, something like that.
Oh,
So cool. Cool, guys. Any last things? Good to go?
We're good.
Cool. I'm telling you. So in post, I want you guys to post like positive changes. Hey, I just hired this. Hey, I just had a record sales week. Just spam the thing. Even if it feels like you're talking to yourself, I'll hype you up. But
copy.
yeah, post as much as possible. And if you read something that's great, I just read this article, I just throw it in there as much as possible. And once this thing's done uploading tomorrow, the next day, I'll put it in or have someone put it into the thing. So cool, guys.
Awesome.
Amazing. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys. Have a great night. Great meeting you guys.
Likewise. Have a good day, brothers.
You guys.
Cheers.